We're back.
So you're not. So you're not gonna say, "Hey, you ready? 1, 2, 3."
No,
Nothing.
it just is how it works. So we're back.
Cannot.
We're back with our stories.
Story time.
It is story time.
Yeah.
So, when I say our story, what do I mean, baby?
So I think today we're supposed to be going over how we met.
Mm-hmm.
That's today's story.
All right. So, just like in the last video, I said I was going to let him go first. I'm not going to interject. I might make some faces, but I'm not going to interject. And he's for sure going to make faces.
That's happening.
Because that's what he does. So, but I love those faces.
Thanks, baby.
All right. There you go. See? Why? Anyway.
Trying to play me.
As we're both smacking on gum, so
Bear with us.
bear with us, yes.
It's been a long day.
All right, baby. So you're up first. Tell them your side of the story.
My side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
My side of the story is the truth.
Okay, well, tell them the truth.
I
See
think
if our stories match up.
I think if you're gonna tell the story, you have to tell it right. And
Right in from the beginning.
well, I think that's my point. I think you have to tell it from the beginning.
Okay.
So, a long time ago in a land far, far away. I feel like I don't even remember like the first time I even saw you or ran into you, but we definitely did high school together. Thanks, appreciate the support. Anyway, so we shared a hallway, and I had one class across from her class, and it was like, I don't know, I think it was like 2 periods long in the morning. So, you know, you always get that break, you know, in high school or whatever. So we'd get there in the morning. I'd kick it outside in the hallway. She would kick it outside in the hallway. And I don't know what happened or who approached who, but the way I remember it is that's how we met. This is the truth.
I said this should be good.
It's epic.
But it's epic. It's pretty epic.
Anyway, so we shared the hallway. Then we had that, like, I don't know, it was like 20, 25 minutes before class in the morning, and then in between first and second semester, because it was, semester. Period?
Period.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 2 periods long, so we had that time in between. So we would like hang out, see what's going on with each other's day. What did you get into the weekend? Blah, 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 blah. So I feel like...
Uh-oh. What do you feel like?
I feel like through the years, it was years too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like through our time as being friends, I say that we all say, you always had a boyfriend. So to me, I always just saw you as like, you know, Tiffany Mayo. I always thought about her like in the sense of, oh, you know, she's a cool person. She's interesting. I think there's more going on. I think she's just kind of like, you know, laying on like a real surface level type of a vibe. I think there's definitely more here that meets the eye with this girl. But I never really pursued because of 2 reasons, and I'll tell my side. One, because you was always bunned up with someone whom we won't name. 2, because my childhood was interesting, but those couple last years in high school were even more interesting, and I had some bigger issues to deal with, and I had some hard and fast decisions to make, and I had to try to get my future kind of figured out. So without going into detail, we'll keep going. Anyway, so obviously my mind was kind of elsewhere because, I had some stuff going on. But secondly, anytime I seen you was always kissy face,
Oh, that's not
holding
true.
hands.
That is not true. I said I wasn't going to interject. Go ahead.
The devil's alive.
My mouth is shut.
My mouth is shut. Anyway, so that's how I remember us in high school. I feel like just now this came to me. God must have revealed it to me. But I feel like I remember seeing you at graduation, the actual event. I remember running into you and a couple other people, and I remember seeing you at the graduation, and just like everyone else, I was like, I'm never gonna see this person again. And me having like issues in other emotional areas in my life, I was always like, I could always deal with the loss fairly quickly. So when I was like, oh, these are all these people I'm friends with or whatever, I just didn't chalk it up more than that. I was like,
You sweating, baby? You high? Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You look like you were sweating. Go ahead.
Now, are you going to tell the people that I worked out before we did the video?
He worked out before he did the video. Before now.
So I'm sweating underneath my clothes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your story.
Anyway, I feel like I remember seeing your graduation. I was like, all right, Tiffany, Tiff, whatever I was calling you back then. Like, I'll see you around, have a good life, blah, 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 blah. And just like everyone else, I feel like I had a cell phone number to reach you on, but I didn't think much of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that proved to be crucial in years to come. Because, anyway, we're going to fast forward. Because we're dragging this on, and I don't want this to be like an all-night affair. So, years and years go by, but through the years, like every once in a blue moon, I feel like why you
Getting so hype.
Because I'm recollecting back to my mind, not to my recollection. I feel like in my mind, I don't know if you ever called me.
I didn't.
I told you my side's the truth, man. I always called her. She never called me. So every once in a blue moon, I would go through these, and of course through the years, you lose touch with people. So this list of people grows smaller and smaller. So there was her, a dude from auto mechanics, and it was 3 people. And every once in a blue moon, I would call these people and be like, oh, what's going on with you? Da 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 da. Okay, this is what I got going on. How's life? How's da da? Anyway, cool. So I think that's what we kind of stayed in touch through the years that way. But I never, in my mind, really thought more of it than that. I just assumed at some point, me and you would become just like anyone else. We would lose touch, whatever was going on. Anyway, so that's how I learned about you having a son, that wild yet very astute young man, Jalen. So that's how I learned about you had a kid. That's how I learned about every relationship you was in. So that's how we kind of kept in touch. Then I feel like we've face-to-face seen each other right after I got married in bowling alley, Waldorf. And I seen you and I saw your mom again. It had been so long since I'd seen your mother. Been so long since I'd seen you. And I was like, oh, what's going on? Anyway, there was that. And I just remember in my mind, I was like, oh, it's so good to see you face to face instead of, just every, whatever, once in a blue moon just calling you up. And it was so good to see you. So I was really excited and da-da-da. Some time went by. Then I think, what happened next? Dang you. I'm trying to get it all straight because I know you're gonna bust my balls if I don't like lay it
I'm
on.
not gonna do anything. I'm gonna tell my side.
I feel like through the years, like I went through some stuff, and then you had went through some stuff, and like every once in a while, I would get caught up on it. Like when we would call each other, I would call you, which wasn't very often at all. Anyway, what did I see? Oh, so you come home, you're on the East Coast again, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is years later.
Oh, okay. We're skipping parts. Okay. Go ahead.
It's funny like that, baby.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's how funny it is.
No, it's not funny. Go ahead.
So like, I feel like years went by, and then out of nowhere, I forget like who called who, because of course I'm living in like the Stone Age, and all I do is like work and raise kids, and then when I'm not working, then I'm working, and I don't know anything about social media. I don't know anything about, like, I'm oblivious to that world, that darkness that is social media. So I don't know people use this to keep up with each other. I don't want to know about it. I forget who calls. I must have called you because you never reach out to me. That says a lot. So
I blow you up now, though.
you're right, though. You ain't scared no more. So anyway, we get up and we're like, I guess I must have called her, and she was like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna be like in town or whatever. And I'm like, whoop-de-doo, you're gonna be in town. And like out of the blue, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go out like this one particular night. Like, you know, if you and X, Y, and Z want to join me or whatever, you know, y'all are more than welcome. Anyway, so it was another dude from high school, of who we won't name, that apparently y'all, I was oblivious to the fact that y'all,
choose your words wisely.
We're seeing each other
Something like
from
that.
time to time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about it, so I'm oblivious to what's going on, and I'm like, oh, cool, y'all can come out and join me. So no wonder, like, I didn't know years later, no wonder she didn't want this other person to come, because I guess, you know, maybe there was some tension between you and him or whatever the case. I don't know. Anyway, all I knew was cuz didn't show up. Dude didn't show up. So it's me and you sitting there. We eat dinner. I'm doing like my usual thing. And I'm like, all right, it's time to go. Or, you know, whenever that time comes. But I feel like I remember we had like, it was great conversation. And I think, I feel like you're one of those people. You always have been. And I've known a lot of things about you. One of the things I knew about you is that you only feed people what's on the surface. And like, you really have to know the person is invested in you before you will really reveal like the real sweetheart, the angel that you really are. Mm-hmm. And if you don't feel that person isn't really vested in you, you're just giving them like, oh, hi, thanks, you know, you're real cordial, and that's about it. Anyway, so great conversation, real talk, real conversation, and things are really cool. It was good to see her again. I found out years later that apparently she was going through like a rough situation in her life at the time, which we won't discuss.
No.
But unbeknownst to me, this was going on in your world. She didn't tell me about it either. So we had a fantastic time, and it was great catching up with you. But I remember my mind going, oh, and like right before I left, I was like, that's really sad. Like this chick, like she's getting ready to leave and like go back to the West. I just remember feeling sad in my heart. Like, you know, this person who, you you know, this good friend of mine is not, now they're going back to the West Coast. I'm not going to be able to see this person again. But I mean, that's what I kind of chalked it up to, because it was like, that's where you live. Like, that was your life. My life was elsewhere. Your life was elsewhere. Blah, 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 blah. That was then. What else happened? I feel like, I don't know if this is in order, because now it just kind of, like, the future is all going to kind of run together, because a lot's happened over this past year. Mm-hmm. But I remember, I don't know why I keep beating my hand up.
I'm so aggressive right now.
I'm trying my best to, like, put it all in order so you don't, like, whoop my tail after the camera goes off.
I'm not going to do that.
Of course not. Anyway.
And bear with us, because this is what, like 15 years of history?
15 years? Yeah, because we were like 17. We're 32 now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Continue on.
Thank you. Anyway, I know it's been 16 minutes. I can see it on the thing. Time is far spent, so let me speed it up. I remember you calling me, no, that's what it was. I joined, this is a big mistake of mine. Big mistake, not on our part, but in another part of my life.
He can't say this is a big mistake, because we wouldn't be where we are right now. Anyway, go ahead.
True. That's very true. Everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Everything happens for a reason. So, I'm a big fan. I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe anything is just, happening for no reason. I get on social media to promote beads.
He
not
occasionally has a Canadian accent.
Like, where does that come from?
I don't know. Promote.
Go
ahead, babe. See what I
deal with.
I love you. Go ahead.
I get on social media to promote like a fitness encouraging based what do you call it? Like a motivational fitness, whatever, like a Facebook page. Because of course at this time, again unbeknownst to me, no one was kind enough to say, Aaron, no one uses Facebook anymore. No one's on there. It's a ghost town. No one explains that to me. But because it's all I know, I think that's all social media is. I'm like, okay, cool. I can reach a lot of people through this ministry I'm doing in my church. I can help people out, X, Y, and Z. I get on social media, and it works. Like, people are tuning in. People are, like, looking at stuff. I'm sharing articles. I feel like I'm helping people out. I cannot create a fitness page without a personal page. So I create a personal page, never look at it, never really check it, and I'm really just on there for the fitness stuff. I post stuff. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and then I, like, leave it alone. Anyway, time goes on, and great thing about social media, I get hooked up with a lot of old friends from high school. So I get hooked up with blah, blah, blah from auto mechanics. I get hooked up with so-and-so from auto mechanics. Like, she's married and got, like, 2 beautiful little girls. This one dude's, like, got a great career with the fire department. Like, I'm learning all this stuff about these fantastic people that used to be in my life. And I'm like, wow, these people still exist. Lo and behold, like, it never occurred to me that people get on social media and don't use their real name. Never occurred to me. So when I get on social media, my name is Aaron. I go by Aaron. So there's like this, apparently there's this strip that moves. Like, you got to use your finger and, like, move this strip. I didn't know you could move the strip at first. It's a strip entitled People You Might Know. Once I learned the strip moves, then I'm like, I come across you, but I don't realize it's you. And it's like, People You Might Know. TJ. And I said, oh, I know a couple TJs, but they're all dudes. So I'm like, I'm wheeling past. Anyway, she must have got frustrated and was like, you not trying to friend me though? She sends me a friend request. I actually took the time and looked at the picture. That's the only way I recognized who this person was. Like, who is TJ? Look at the picture. I'm like, oh, hold on. The devil don't want me to tell it.
Go ahead.
I accept a friend request. So now it's like, we can learn even more about each other's lives. It's another way for us to, like, see what the other person is doing or whatever. So that was really kind of cool, and I learned a lot about a lot of these different people that I had left behind, you being one of them. Mm-hmm. So I'm so excited about that. And then I learned through social media, like, you're going to be in town, like, you're visiting. This is like your, like, biannual trip to the East Coast. You're coming to town again. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, if y'all, plural, are going to be hooking up, let me know, and I'll, come on and kick it with y'all. So, I feel like, where did we first? Dude, I don't even know. We ended up doing something. But what I did not reveal to you is that I was going through,
Are you trying to figure out how to word it?
I'm trying to be very careful how I word it.
Okay.
I was going through a lot of changes in life. Mm-hmm. And I was having a really hard time dealing with a lot of stuff that was going on. And a lot of a decision I had made based upon some stuff that had happened in the future had led me to be...
In the future?
I mean, in the past. Thanks, babe. Thank you.
You're psychic after all.
I am. It's in the blood.
Mm-hmm.
So, based upon some stuff I had seen and stuff I had been through, I kind of come to this decision in my life. But making this decision, and I'm sorry, like, I'm not about, like, airing dirty laundry, like, so I'm just gonna be very vague. I had come to this decision, but I didn't let her know, like, what was going on or what, this really hard thing I was going through in life. So I just was like, look, a lot of family and friends I had known had all but kind of like, is abandon the right word? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
For the situation, yeah.
So based upon what was going on, like, a lot of people had, like, kind of pushed me to the side, abandoned me, didn't really want to say nothing to me, or if they did, it was really like, it was either to threaten me, cuss me out, or, like, tell me what a piece of trash I was. So if they were willing to talk to me, it wasn't anything positive. So there were a few people, very few, but very few, who actually said something worthwhile. Anyway, I didn't tell you about what was going on because, frankly, it was too much, and I didn't want you to get involved in that part of my life. So we started, we did go hang out one time, had a great time. I think did we meet up for lunch?
I'm not saying. We'll get to it.
Oh. No. Dave and Buster's. Winning. Dave and Buster's. You and your cousins get together at Dave and Buster's, and I'm like, look, I don't want to be like the odd man out. I don't know any of these people. But of course, I was going through whatever, and I was like, I'll go hang out. Maybe I'll make some new friends, whatever. Had a great time. Her family was hilarious. I really enjoyed them. Had a great time, and you were like, oh, by the way, I'm going to be around for like a couple more days or whatever. And I was like, okay, but I had a great time. So I was like, okay, let's see if we can, like, it'll be tough because my schedule is so hectic or whatever. But let me see if we can hook up and do lunch one day. We did lunch, and then, I don't know, man, like, the rest is just like
history.
It happened so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, one thing kind of led to another. And, yeah, so we was like, hey, man, let me ask you something. Like, why have we never hooked up in high school? And I think it was you who posed a question to me. And I was like, oh, I was feeling you back then, but you always had this boyfriend who... And...
What? What did you say?
I won't speak ill of that. So, so you always had this boyfriend, and I was like, and then I explained to you how I had like some other stuff going on. I had to kind of get my life together.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, long story short, we were like, look, we're both in a situation where, like, we have this opportunity. We've been given an opportunity, with like a second chance. And you were like, or I was like, man, I think we just need to like go for it because whatever, you know, stuff doesn't happen for no reason. So I think that kind of rolled into like, you know, we were just like, you know, talking kind of frequently or texting kind of frequently on the phone. And then next thing I know, like, you had like called me up one day and was like distraught. And again, I don't air like dirty laundry, so bear with me. You had some trashy stuff happen in your life over in Nevada. And you were devastated by like some events that were going down and didn't understand why this was happening to you. Why would God allow this to happen? Blah. And I was really feeling kind of bad. And then it kind of dawned on me. Like, everything happens for a reason. And you have been, I say blessed, with an opportunity that most people who are 32 years old never have. Most people never get, period. But to be that old in your career, you have an opportunity to like rewrite your career, your history. You have an opportunity, a great opportunity. You can move in with your dad, and like go back to school if you want to, or change career paths if you want to, or you can move to the East Coast and then move in with either one of your relatives over there, and again change your career path, go back to school, do whatever it is you want to do. Like, you have, don't look at this as such a bad thing. Look at it as an opportunity, and that's all I kind of saw it as. And then so like some time went by, some weeks went by, and you were like, look, that's when you told me, you're like, I decided I'm gonna move back home to the East Coast, and I was the East Coast. And I was low key hyped because I was like, fantastic. Now you're gonna be like close. We can hang out every once in a while. Blah blah blah. So I was kind of hyped, but then I was also sad at the same time because I knew why like all this has come to pass. I knew no one was ever gonna believe it, but that's their problem. Anyway, so I was like, what an unfortunate circumstance. But now you have the opportunity that most people don't have. You'll have the opportunity that I will never have. That is to go back and like, if you want to redo your career or if you want to take advantage of this, you really have a great opportunity. Anyway, you move back home, and the rest is kind of
her story. History.
We went out a couple times, did a bunch of stuff. Hung out. I feel like we've experienced like so many like different things. Anyway, boy meets girl, girl meets boy. We're reunited. We're falling in love. Things are going great, and I think the rest just kind of like snowballs into what we are now. That's my story.
That's your story.
I'm sticking to it.
Wow.
So this whole 28 minutes and 50 seconds
was all his story. I'm gonna try not to make mine long, because I don't want people to be like, this video is 45 minutes. I'm not watching this.
Please, tell your side.
So, his story was pretty accurate.
Before you get started, I feel like I just need to say that it's such a detail-oriented story. You just can't skip past.
It is very detailed. So, you know, this is a kind of story. If you really want to know the real tea, you know, you come out with us. We'll feel free to tell you all the info. But, okay. So, are you going to interject? Okay. He is correct about the high school portion of the story. I, as well, do not remember how we initially started talking. But there was a point where we used to, like, write notes to each other, blah, blah, blah. You know, the whole... Why are you looking at me like that? The whole whatever high school thing. And when I saw Mr. Aaron Jones, I was like, he's so cute. Oh my gosh. And I did have other things going on with other people, but it wasn't for the whole extent that he is making. Like, it wasn't that extensive. Like, it wasn't the whole time in high school, but let him tell it. I was with this person this whole time. So anyway, the truth is that I never said anything to him about me having this high school crush, because I don't know, you know how it is, like when you, especially when you're young, you're afraid of like rejection. So I didn't say anything to him because I didn't think I was his type. So I just kept with what I was familiar with and left it at that. So after high school, he is correct. We did keep in touch throughout the years. He called me because, again, I was like super scared. I don't know why. And I never called him. So he always called me like every few months. And we would catch up on what was going on and blah, blah, blah. And we would even email each other. He left that part out. We would email each other. I think like when we couldn't call, we would email each other. And so that was nice. Like, it was always nice hearing from him. And then he is again correct about the bowling alley. So some years had gone by, and I went, my family is on a bowling league, and so they were there to practice before the league. And I looked down the lanes, and who do I see? So I'm like freaking out to my mom because she knew about this little crush that I had on him in high school. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Aaron. Like, she's like, why don't you go say hi? And I was like, he's with a bunch of people. Like, I didn't want to like intrude or just like, go be all up in the business. So I'm in the arcade with my son, and Aaron's at the counter, and I'm like, okay, it's time like to go up, say something. He's by himself, blah, blah, blah. So I go up to him and we're like, hey, like all the normal, whatever. And that's when I got the news that broke my heart into 1,000 pieces. He had told me he'd gotten married. And I was like, oh. And some other thoughts that I'm not going to say. But, yeah, so we moved on from that part. It was good to see him, but I was just like totally crushed. So I kind of just like, whatever, it's over. Like, I'm never gonna have a chance. He's married. And and then so I went about my life, and he went about his life, and where he got the story mixed up. So don't get me wrong, like, we still kept in touch, like phone calls, emails, whatever, blah, 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 every once in a while. But the part that he got mixed up was when we met at the place where he invited me and this other guy. The guy didn't come. I went, so it was just him and I. I did not come there like I was in town. This was before I had initially moved to California. So it was kind of like, oh, we're hanging out like before I moved to the West Coast type of thing. So we did hang out. You hot? The windows are fogging up, and not for a good reason.
Saying I stink?
No, I'm just saying, like, usually the windows fog up when you're in the car getting it on. We're not doing that.
No, baby.
Okay. So we had a great time, like he said. We had a lot of conversation at this point because it had been years since I saw him at the movie theater. At the bowling alley. He has children at this point, and so this was something new that I learned. So, we had a good conversation. We left and we talked for a long time, and and then I moved to California, and I I think we talked one time when I was in California. And then we didn't talk for a while. Well, we didn't talk at all. And I remember telling one of my really good friends, I was like, I'm never going to talk to him again. Like, I didn't want to just call because, you know, he was married and whatever else. And I wanted to be, like, respectful. So I wasn't just going to call his cell phone at any given time. And I think at that point, like, his email didn't work anymore. So I didn't know what his new email was. So I couldn't, like, email him. So I was just really, like, bummed out. It was kind of one of those things where, you know, what can I really do about it? Like, it just is what it is. Like, I just have to accept this and move on. So I had been looking for him on social media because everybody was on Facebook or whatever this social media was at the time. And I could never find him. Like, I'm friends on Facebook actually now with people who are named Aaron Jones, who I thought it was him, but it wasn't him. I just never unfriended them. So I never told you that. But
What kind of?
because they wouldn't have like good profile pictures and I couldn't see their pictures, so I had to like friend request them. I was like, oh, this got to be him, because it was just like too coincidental and they were mutual friends and whatever, blah blah blah. But it was, you know, when the person would accept my friend request, I would realize that it wasn't him.
You never unfriended them?
No. So anyway, I was looking for him for all these years because I like complained to my friend. I was like, I'm never gonna see him again. Like, oh, I'm so stupid. And they're like, oh, you should have told him how you felt. Da, da, da. And I'm like, oh, I know, but I'm so stupid. So anyway, fast forward a few more years in California. I get on Facebook and I see Aaron Jones. And the real Aaron Jones. But it wasn't, your profile picture wasn't your face. It was like or maybe it was. I don't know. I don't remember. But I saw him in the same way he saw me and the people you may know. And I'm like, okay, well, if I can see him, he can see me. So I'm going to let him send me the friend request. Because as per how our friendship had been thus far, I was waiting for him to do the work, not me. So just like, you know, like you called me all the time and I never initiate. Anyway, so he's correct in him saying that I got impatient, because I'm like, I know he can see me. Like, does he not want to be my friend? Like, what's up? And so I sent him the friend request, and yeah, so we were like talking on Facebook. And then I remember it was my Tanked Giving 2015. And this random number called my phone, and I don't answer numbers that I don't know. And he left a message, and I was kicking myself in the butt because I missed the phone call. But anyway, moving forward, you know, we kept in touch, we talked. And then while I was still in California, because where this video is going to go, other than YouTube, on my blog, I had my blog, and I told him, oh, I'm going to write this story. I'm going to write this post. And in my head, I knew what the post was going to be about. And I had to like muster up the guts to tell him that it was about him. So it's pretty much a post for me, like, spilling my guts and my feelings about how I felt like in high school and why I never said anything and blah, 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 blah. So he read the post and it was kind of like, oh, we got a lot to talk about, or nothing at all. Sorry, babe.
Like, of all things, that stands out to you?
Yes, because like that's what you said.
You bring that up often.
Because that's what you said.
Did that come off as aggressive?
Well, you've explained to me since, like, what you meant, because you didn't know if I was talking about you or not.
Right.
But at the time, it was like, I mean, I don't want to say it came off. Anyway, we'll talk about this off camera. So.
I'm in trouble.
No, you're not in trouble, babe. So, he read this post, and, you know, he knew that things were a little bit more intense than what he thought, because, as he said, he was oblivious to all this. So, I didn't know how he felt in high school, and he didn't know how I felt, because neither one of us spoke up. And so, like, this reconnection that we had, like he said, was kind of like a second chance. You know, although, of course, at the very beginning, we were just friends. Like, we were just friends that were reconnecting. It wasn't anything like, we weren't intentionally trying to be whatever. We were just friends. And so, you know, he's correct in the fact that I did come back. You know, I would usually come back to the East Coast like twice a year. I came back and we hung out, and yeah, and then it got to that point. Oh, we're talking too much. That's fine. It got to that point where, like he said, he was going through his situation, and contrary to what everybody thinks, you know, I'm not airing any dirty laundry, babe. I'm just saying, like, you know, we had been friends. So like he said, it did get to a point where we were like, oh, we have a second chance. Like, you like me, I like you, blah, blah, blah. So what are we going to do from here? And, you know, I was in Vegas, so it was kind of like a long distance thing, and it, you know, it was rough. But we managed. And, you know, we talked every day. We talked all the time and got to know each other better. And then, you know, I had my little situation happen that caused me to come back. I mean, I didn't have to come back, but if I had to choose somewhere to go because, you know, things were happening the way that they were happening when I was in Vegas, like, why not come back home? He's here. So I came back so that it wouldn't be so long distance. And yeah, now here we are.
Here we are.
And it's, you know, I agree with him that, like, everything happens for a reason. I am a firm believer of that as well. Nothing happens by chance. I kind of had a feeling like, this is like the real thing when I was in Vegas. So of course I had to come back. And yeah, now y'all are stuck seeing our pictures and posts all over the place. So I hope you love those. But
shout out to the haters.
Shout out to the haters. But I feel like it was a good story because it really, like, came full circle. Like, 15 years, like, you know, when you're just meant to be somewhere. And like I told him at one point, you know, or no, I didn't tell him. He saw this in a YouTube video that I did, that, you know, if you let something go and it comes back, it means you were meant to, you know, that's where you were meant to be, or they were meant to be, or whatever. So anyway, so yeah, we're happy, and that's our story. It's so cute. Can't wait to tell our grandchildren. But anyway, yeah, so that's like how it happened. Like, this is, I honestly, before I reconnected with him, I thought that I was in relationship karma because of stuff that had happened in my past. And I honestly thought I was going to be single for the rest of my life. And living in a house with a bunch of animals. I don't want to say cats because I don't like cats, but you know. But he saved me. And I'm not alone.
No, we're not alone.
So that's our story. Sorry that it took so long to explain, but like I said, that's like 15 years. That's a lot, and we didn't even give every detail. We left stuff out. So, you know, for the sake of, yeah, but you kind of get the gist of what happened and how we got to where we are now.
Plus, I think a lot of people aren't gonna understand or be understanding. I think how close we've gotten in such a short period of time. But I think it's really amazing. I think it's amazing.
We talk about it all the time, how amazing it is. Like, we feel like we've been together for years. And it's because I think we're, like, so made for each other. because like I said, like when you know, so you know,
Yeah.
it feels like it's been years. It hasn't been years, but
Plus, I mean, look how, I don't think, it'd be one of those things like if we had like, lost connection through the years and then like randomly stumbled upon each other. But I think for the most part, I mean, there were some like patches where we didn't talk for like, a year
while.
or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think, like, we started off friends at 17, knew a lot about each other, talked every day.
16, 17, 16, more so. Oh, he's older than me. Yeah, he's older than me. 6 months.
Anyway. But I think that's the thing. I mean, we've been friends for so long and have so much history together. I don't think it took us long to kind of.
Yeah, but at the same time, like we didn't like know as much about each other then as we do now. Like,
no, not nearly. And I think we both matured as.
But that's what was weird, because it was like, even in high school, like we talked a lot. We talked every day. Like, he didn't know anything really personal about me. I didn't really know anything personal about him. Like, but when we like reconnected, it was like none of that mattered. It was kind of like we just like picked back up where we left off, and that's how it. Like, we don't argue. We don't get mad at each other.
Of course not.
I mean, not anything.
Frustrated.
Intense.
It's frustrated at times.
Frustrating, but and then we laugh it off. But that's like couple stuff.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So anyway, we have been long-winded, and we're 46 minutes in. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. Anything you need to say?
Have we figured out an outro?
We have not figured out an outro. I say, keep it sexy. Never stop dating.
Never stop dating.
That's our outro. Never stop dating. That's advice.
Never stop
right?
dating.
That's advice we're giving to other people. Never stop dating your significant other. That is how. Why are you making those faces?
Nothing.
You don't agree?
My advice? Yes, that's part of my advice. Make love, not war.
Not war.
Keep your pants dry and your dreams wet.
Is this your outro? Is this your outro?
And never stop dating.
Never stop dating. All right. Peace out. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.